we'll get into the conversation.
Sure thing. Well, thank you again for the invitation, Robert. So hello everyone. My name is Quentin. So as Robert mentioned, I'm head of creative strategy for North America at Gameloft. So maybe we can go to the next slide. We have a few more details about what we're doing. And so for those who may have not heard about us, we've been around for more than 20 years now. Some of you may know us better through titles such as Asphalt 9 Legends and the Asphalt franchise, Minion Rush, Disney Magic Kingdoms, or more recently, the Oregon Trail. And that's just to name a few. And actually, so for the past 6 to 7 years, we've built and developed this advertising and brand partnerships business unit called Gameloft for Brand. And so my job as head of creative strategy is to ideate and create games for brands. That's really in a nutshell. So we've developed more than 1,000 playable campaigns for a variety of partners. We've worked hand in hand with Havas for some incredible projects that we'll talk more about in a few minutes. But I'm just going to stop talking for about a minute, and we have a little reel in the next slide. So I'm just going to let it play so you can have a better idea of what Gameloft for Brands does.
Great. Awesome. That is exactly like our pitch videos, same kind of projects. You could be sure, in everyone's dreams. But yeah, so super excited to have Quentin here. I don't know if anybody noticed some of the engagement metrics. 250 million downloads. Is that monthly? Did I read that right?
So it's 1.5 million downloads daily, and we have more than 250 million active users across our network and some of our partners as well.
I heard through the grapevine, Minion Rush hit 1 billion downloads recently.
That's right, and even Asphalt crossed the 1 billion bar actually like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. So definitely, you know, this is very exciting, and we're hoping for more billion downloads in the coming years.
It's pretty amazing. We have presented the partnership with Gameloft many times to clients in pitches in some of the most conservative categories, and their eyes light up each time. They will not volunteer gameplay on things like Minion Rush when I ask them directly in the room, but then they say, oh, my kids have played, and they know all the details. So I suspect that a lot more people are engaged with gaming, and it's a much broader demographic. And I think what's exciting for us in healthcare is that we're gonna really get into that. I want to ask you first, what is your top line view on the current state of gaming, and how has it changed in the past year with coming in and out of pandemic and lockdown?
It has changed a lot. So clearly the pandemic has put gaming in the limelight more than we could ever fathom. And it's really turned the medium into this sort of like zeitgeist when it comes to entertainment. And some studies have shown that more than 50% of Americans turn to video games during a lockdown. So gaming has become this powerful way to escape from an anxious world. And on the brand and advertising side, well, many people also found out what gaming really is about. And by that, I mean that many are finally starting to put their biases aside and realize that gaming is not about a tween teen playing violent shooter games in their basement 24/7. There's actually more than 3 billion active gamers worldwide nowadays. Half of them are women. The average age of a gamer is 34 years old. Gamers are likely to be well educated with a high disposable income. And games, generally speaking, have become more than these playful linear experiences. In fact, they become the new playgrounds, the new social networks. So it's become a pop culture phenomenon, to a point that I believe we can say everybody in the world will be a gamer someday. It's sort of a foregone conclusion at this point. There's still growth opportunities, obviously, for the field, but you probably have heard a lot about metaverses, in the media. And so when this metaverse finally emerges and comes to fruition, comes to realization, well, we're going to spend a lot more time in game worlds, and not just to play. It's going to be also to hang out, to be with people, to interact with people. So a lot has changed, and clearly gaming is really now a force to be reckoned with.
What do you feel are some of the key attributes of what you do that make it a great partner for the healthcare industry in general?
Well, I think that first, because we've been around for more than 20 years. We're one of the oldest gaming publishers around, so we have acquired that expertise to make games something that sticks around. So I guess that's really our history, and our legacy is really one of our competitive edges. Also, I believe that gaming can really be an ideal medium for healthcare, thanks to the awareness, to raise awareness about a product or research in a differentiated manner. It's still very much in its infancy when it comes to healthcare. So if a brand, if a pharmaceutical company is using it to promote their latest advancements, well, they're bound to really break through the clutter. Competition for attention is higher than ever before, and so really gaming can help break through to saturated audiences. That's the first point. The second point is really gaming is all about engagement, and it's the ability to create that engagement during a long time, that stickiness that comes naturally with games, that is, in my opinion, quite formidable. And the brands that will offer rich and playful experiences are more likely to engage with users than the brands who will be just hammering one-way comms. And a good game will usually hook you up immediately. And historically, we've actually seen that people who actually engage, start playing a game, a short playable session up to 60 seconds, 2 out of 3 people will actually play until the very end. So it's not something that is just minor. The third point I would say is where traditional learning methods fail. Gaming and gamification of learning can really help develop a variety of skills, because obviously, compared to a movie or compared to a simple video, gaming puts your sense of touch, of vision, and of hearing to the test. It's so compelling in that way. You're not passive in front of the content. You're really active, and you have to do. So you're getting that feedbacks in real time. You're able to replay, to restart many times. And so with feedbacks that can be adaptive, and with the evolution of technology, you can really deliver really great experiences that replicate an actual operating block or mechanism of action. So for all these reasons, I really think it's a medium that can really help healthcare.
It's amazing to me that we strive for 1, 2, maybe 3 sort of engagements, and then hit them with a message or pull through, for instance. Here you're talking about emotional relationships that you build with each user that last for years at some point.
That's right.
And I think that that cannot be underestimated. That is something that's inherent in the gameplay. There is joy and delight, and you have a great slide. Quentin and I presented together before, and he had a great slide on your brain on games. Tell me a little about the actual physiology, the neurotransmitters, et cetera, that are engaged when you're playing some of your titles, because I think it's
Indeed.
fascinating.
So yeah, so this emotional curve that that you're going through, when you're playing a game. Sometimes it's joy, sometimes it's frustration, but it's never necessarily anger. Most of the time it's a frustration that will come here because you may be blocked by an obstacle, but by playing repeatedly and by possibly asking help, around, you will finally overcome that obstacle, and so you really will be up the curve. And so yeah, basically coming back to what you were saying, play is really instinctive. For us, it's an instinct, really, and many and from studies that go back to the I think 17th century until now. There's been really proven results that playing actually is beneficial for us, and is actually something that we naturally do from the moment we're born. And indeed, for the neuroscience part of it, well, when you're playing a game, it will actually releases some chemicals such as dopamines and a variety of endorphins that will create pleasure, that will create that sort of recall and focus, and that will even actually help develop your brain capacities and connectivity. So again, really a lot of actual medical studies have shown that gaming can be beneficial when it comes to the functions of your brain. And I think that's something we'll probably talk a little bit after later in the conference. But a lot of people think that gaming is mainly maybe still for kids, where in fact, again, I've given the facts, but great gamers are a growing cohort when it comes to gaming.
What I find fascinating about what you said in terms of young versus elderly populations, there was a study of 80 plus gamers using an app to delay cognitive decline. They had never played a game before. Some of them had never used a computer, and the game was built intuitively. And one of the things they got addicted to was leveling up and competing against each other. And the clinical side of that is that it not only slowed cognitive decline, it actually brought back or increased volume in cerebral cortex, as well as increased their cognitive functionality. So gaming is very powerful from an outcomes perspective, as well as from the non-clinical biomarker side. And for those who aren't familiar, there are several applications that are FDA approved. They are written as prescriptions, for instance, in ADHD. As powerful outcome as the drugs that kids used to take, with really no side effects. So, we have to think not just from an engagement platform and how to push messages, but a real opportunity to help people with their day-to-day, but most importantly, their overall experience. Are there any projects in healthcare that you're working on now? The rumor has it that you may be, in fact, creating a version of Minion Rush for dogs with our health HLNY. Is that true?
Well, it's still probably in its infancy, so I don't have much to say at this stage, and I think it's still being work in progress. But clearly, I mean, the healthcare and wellness vertical is something we really want to focus on, and we really want to develop not only on the B2C side, but also like B2B. So let me just give you like a few examples of what we worked on recently. Actually, one of our most successful projects in recent months was with Havas Health, and it was for a pharmaceutical company called Arena. And the original idea was to create this engaging booth experience for the DDW 2020 convention, the Digestive Disease Week convention. And it was to promote etrasimod, which is a new molecule developed by Arena that can target gastrointestinal pathways in order to reduce inflammation for IBDs such as Crohn's disease. Now, unfortunately, COVID came, so we had to pivot quickly and turn this booth activation into an interactive media platform that was fully accessible online through any browsers. Now, one of the main components of this platform was, of course, a game, and it is a simple strategy tower defense game where you have to control the flow of lymphocytes in the lymph nodes, and the results are really been beyond our expectations when it comes to engagement and time spent. And we actually even updated the platform last month with new content for DDW 2021. So that's one of our recent examples. Another one, we recently developed a brick breaker game for Sanofi Toujeo Max Solostar. It's an EpiPen for diabetes. And the activation, once again, is targeted at healthcare professionals. And the point there was to demonstrate the higher capacity of the pen, tying the score objective to the actual capacity of the product, which is 900 units of insulin. Now, we also wanted for this one to drive replayability. So we added a patient selection screen, facts triggering during the game, and we did not make it so easy to win either. We really wanted people to play, as much as possible. So that was, I would say, for the HCP B2B side of things. Now, we also created playable ads for consumer OTC products, such as Benadryl syrup or the GSK flu vaccine, to demonstrate the efficiency and strength of the products. And we've been working with the FDA for quite some time to develop a variety of interactive pieces of content for their anti-vaping and anti-tobacco campaign. So not purely pharmaceutical related, but still, in a broader sense, covering the healthcare and wellness industry.
Amazing. There are a couple of questions in the chat that I think one of them is really important because this comes up a lot with brand teams when we talk about gaming.
Yeah.
The perception is that it takes a long time, years and years to build a game. And I just want you to just comment on the level of complexity and the fact that you do have templated gameplay that we can leverage to get things out quickly.
That is, you're totally right. So that's one of the beauty also of working with us, is that because we've been developing these games for so long, and it's basically a simple playable 30-second game can be developed. For the most simplest one, can be developed in a matter of a couple of weeks. Now, if we're looking at an activation such as the Arena one, it might be more like a couple of months, and it's not necessarily like the development side of things is not necessarily the what takes longer. It's mainly all the approval and MLR reviews, etc. But development-wise, we can develop this type of browser-based experiences that are accessible for everyone and at booth conventions in a matter just of a couple of months. Now, obviously, if we're talking about a treatment like the one that was developed, for ADHD and approved by the FDA, obviously here we're talking about really the next level in terms of scope and in terms of development. And obviously, we're talking it's like a real medicine, right? So we're talking about several years. But for all the examples that I've mentioned, really it's a matter of a few weeks to a couple of months. So it's really quick. And again, it doesn't mean low quality. That's one of the things we really pride ourselves with, is really to try and deliver always a premium quality content. So we're able to deliver that with a fast turnaround. So clearly it doesn't take years. It doesn't take not even a full year to develop such experiences, and we are able to cope with fast turnarounds.
Great. There are a couple questions about modalities and tech from our very own Matt Eagles. Not only does he say, I'm a 50-something with Parkinson's, any games you can recommend for me, but he also asks about the future in terms of new technology like VR. Are there any top secret sort of shareable advances that Gameloft is working on that you are excited about, that you can kind of lift the curtain up a little bit and get us
Sure.
pumped? Yeah.
Yeah, no, sure. So regarding VR, I know it's it's what everyone wants their Ready Player One headset, taking them to this metaverse, of highly 3D, polygons and avatars that can interact with each other, just like in real life. We're definitely not there. We're definitely not there yet. And when it comes to VR, the main issue is actually the number of VR headsets available on the market. So if you're looking really from a consumer perspective, the market is still very narrow. And just to give you an example that I have on top of my head, Valve, which is a gaming company known for their Half-Life series and their Steam platform, released, I think it was last year, released another episode of Half-Life in VR entirely. And even then, it's really considered as one of the greatest VR games around. And even then, it didn't really manage to. I see some people know about the games in the game in the chat, but it hasn't really been helping the VR industry, going full power. So we're still in very much in the infancy, and I guess within a few years it will keep on growing steadily, but we're not there yet. So our focus on our end has mainly be for about AR, augmented reality. This really has been one of our main focuses for the past year or two, and we've actually released an AR-based standalone application. It's called App Play-Do. It's for Ferro, so it's nothing related to the healthcare and wellness industry. And we've released it actually in partnership with the Oxford University. And this app is aimed at developing young children's creativity through a series of educational games. And parents can sort of push certain types of activities so their children can focus on them. So they have a dedicated section in the app that they can use. And we're bringing updated content on a regular basis, so we're very happy with it. We've also worked with voice control and digital out of home. So I think it was a couple of years back, we produced a voice control platformer game like Mario for Fanta in Brazil, where the higher you scream Fanta, the higher your character can jump. So we witnessed footage of crowds in malls having tons of fun, gathering around people playing. And we know that with COVID, people may still be reluctant to go to touch screens, but that's the beauty of it. By using your voice and a smartphone as a controller, you can actually still enjoy playing on these big screens. So AR, voice control, digital out of home. We're also looking at 3D and WebGL. And also that's the beauty of how fast the technology is evolving. HTML5 and today's browsers can really deliver incredible visual experiences on par with what you can find in standalone application nowadays. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to download anything, and you don't want to have to go on the app store, search for the app, download the app. Here you just scan a QR code, access a URL, boom, it's downloaded instantly. So with the advent of 5G, there's a strong belief that we'll see really more and more of these types of activations. And finally, to end on that note, we've been looking at digital venues and how we could gamify an entire event. And we know that the future of experiential is probably in between hybrid, but we still believe we can go beyond just Zoom recordings and conferences. So more to come on that end in the future. And just one last word as for NFTs, because I know this is kind of a fad right now, or maybe not. In fact, we've been also looking at it a little bit, but nothing really. It's still in the research and development phase.
Very cool. So I think that you answered most of the questions. I think that we're going to ask you if you could stay with us as we go over a couple of innovations we've created for Arthritis Foundation, and then we'll ask for your opinion and possibly what we could do together. And I think that will serve as a real life example of the partnership. And of course, people can reach out to us on the Now team, and we will connect you with Quentin